Hi guys, welcome to our channel Benzson Vanlife. If you're new here, my name's Cam, this is Em, and this is our van Benzson. In this episode we're going to be covering the part of our build that we get the most questions about, which is our lifting bed and being able to sleep 4 people in this van.
Originally we were going to just jump straight into the technical aspects of the install and everything like that, but we put a call out on our social media asking for any questions you guys had, and we had a lot of questions around why we chose to do the bed lift system and why it was important to sleep 4 people. So I thought we would talk a little bit about that.
There were 2 main considerations that we had when getting this van, is that we wanted it to be a medium wheelbase because I'm driving it every day to work. And also we wanted to be able to sleep 4 people, and that meant having a bed that we didn't have to pack up every day, because as we said in our previous video, we tried that before when we were overseas hiring vans, and we just never packed up the bed. We just ate on the bed, got dressed on the bed, and never put it away. So we wanted a bed that could just lift up into the ceiling, so very easy to just get it out of the way during the day.
Another aspect that we really needed to consider was future-proofing the van, because we knew that we were going to be having kids soon, and just as well because this one's due in a few weeks now. So we really needed to be able to sleep 4 and carry 4, because there was no use, creating this awesome van and then having to upgrade again in another couple of years.
So that intro was filmed months and months ago. And we've had a lot of our followers being very patient, waiting for us to release this video about our lifting bed. But we've got a good reason why it's taken us so long, and that reason is this little dude. Thatcher decided to come a couple of months earlier than he was meant to. So we had a bit of an emergency birth, so we spent over a month in hospital. But we're home now.
We've been a bit busy.
We are adjusting to parent life, I guess, as best as you can. But thank you for being patient. Let's get into our video about our lifting bed. Since putting this lifting bed video on our social media, it's been shared a few times by different van pages. We've just gotten hundreds, if not thousands, of questions about how it actually works. So your questions are going to guide the direction of where this video goes. There's a fair bit to cover, so we'll probably split this video up into either 2 parts or even 3 parts if need be. So in this first part though, we're going to cover exactly what the bed lift is and how it works, and try to answer some of your questions that you've had about it. One of the questions we've gotten, which I love, it just gets straight to the point: bed, how you do? So I'm going to explain to you how it works. The product that we installed is called a Happijac Bed Lift system. It consists of 2 end frames with 2 vertical rails on each. Inside these rails is a chain that's kind of like a heavy-duty bicycle chain. The brackets that the bed platform is mounted to are attached to those chains. What powers these chains to move is a motor that is mounted to one of the corners. When the switch is pressed, the motor engages. A drive shaft connects the 2 end frames together so that all 4 corners are moving at the same speed. The way you get this motor to engage is by a switch that can be wall mounted. It's a pressure activated switch, so as soon as your finger comes off, the bed will stop in place. Does the bed lock in place, and how much weight does it hold? The bed does lock in place. There's multiple points down each track that you can put a pin through, which locks the bed in place. Also on the drive motor, there is a locking mechanism that once you release the switch, the lock engages. So the moving weight of this bed is around 450 pounds, which is 204 kilos. So that's moving. Once it's stable and it's locked in place, the weight that it can hold is 600 pounds, which is about 274 kilos. So plenty of strength there, and once it's locked in place, then we climb in. We're not overly concerned about the bed lifting up and squashing us. We've had it for over a year. We haven't had any issues. If you're really concerned, you can always just pull the fuse out from your fuse board, and that would cut all power going to the motor. So there'd be no risk of it accidentally turning on. But as I said, we've had it for over a year and we haven't had any issues whatsoever. So the video is obviously sped up. It doesn't raise and lower that quickly. It takes about 30 seconds to drop to the lowest position and 30 seconds to go back up. So it's not as fast as what it's showing in the video. Can the bed be stopped halfway? And how big is your bed? So yes, the bed can be stopped halfway, and that's one of the big draw cards for us for this bed lift system, because we wanted to be able to sleep multiple people. So the bottom beds can either be 2 singles or it can be 1 king size bed when you put all the cushions together, as you can see here. The top bed, particularly in the Sprinter, it had to be a double bed size width. If you had a bed any wider, it wouldn't go all the way up, and we wanted it to go as high as it could up against the ceiling to give us as much head height under here as possible. If you had a van that was had straighter sides or a bit wider, you'd have to measure and see. You could put a wider bed in here. Can you fully stand up in the back? Now, you can't fully stand up in the back. Here in the main kitchen area, obviously you can stand up. This is where you'd want to be standing up, where we're getting changed, where we're cooking, that kind of thing. In this back area, I need to stoop a little bit, but it's not that big of an issue. I don't think it's any lower than what a low roof van would be. Mainly in this area, you're sitting on the couch, you're sitting at the table anyway, so I don't think it's a big deal that you can't stand up in this area. Do you need power to operate the bed lift? Ideally, you do want power, but if for some reason that your power did cut out, you can use a spanner to operate it. So what you would do, you switch off the brake from the motor. You would use a spanner on the nut and wind that. So it'd be a bit labor intensive, but you are able to operate it without power if need be. So another question we get asked is, where do you store your pillows and blankets when they're not in use? Now, all ours just stay on this bed. It stays completely made all the time. When we were traveling overseas, we hired some vans that had a setup similar to this down the bottom, with a dining room and a lounge room that could be made into a bed. We found that we either left the bed set up all the time and never used the dining area, or if we did want to set it up in a dining area and pack up the bed, all our cupboards were full of bedding and pillows anyway. So this is our storage area. So a question from one of our fellow Aussies here says, where did you buy the lift from in Oz, and how much does the bed system cost? So the place that we bought our bed lift system from in Australia was called North Coach RV, and they're located in Brisbane in Queensland. When we first got our van, we hadn't done anything else to it. I did a bit of a Google search, found out that there was one place in Australia that would sell them, and luckily that was near where we lived. So we're able to go and pick it up, and it was one of the first purchases we made for the van, and it sat in our shed for over a year before we actually got to installing it. But the guy only had 2. He had it imported just to see how they'd sell in Australia. And he said he wasn't getting any more in until these ones had sold. So I snapped it up straight away. Didn't want to miss out. And now he gets them in more frequently because they've been so popular. There are different options when it comes to the Happijac Bed Lift. So the one that we got is sort of the middle size. So it's around about 67 inches tall, so that's about 1.7 meters, and this internal width here is 47 inches, so about 1.2 wide. You can get some that are a bit taller. I think they're about 80 something inches tall. You can get some shorter ones so that the bed will only drop down a certain distance, and it'll stop like maybe above your table in the middle. But ours goes right down to the lower bench seats. If you got the 82 inch, I think it is, that would be too tall. You wouldn't be able to fit it in this space. They come in 2 different colors. You can get the white one that we've got or a black one. We wanted a white one, and luckily that was the one that was stocked here in Australia, just because our walls were white and it would just work in seamlessly. If you're in another country, you may need to do a bit of a Google search for your country. I think in America, you know, there's a few options there because that's where they're made. In Europe and the UK, I think it can be quite difficult that you need to sort of import those from the US. But with the popularity of them now, like there's been a lot of people doing it now, I think that more RV places will start stocking these as a standard item. And the price of the Happijac, it was the most expensive single item that we bought for the van. We got it for $2,000, 2,000 Aussie dollars. Now, so that was a couple of years ago. Now they've gone up to about $2,500. In America, I think it's a similar price, but in US dollars, so it's $2,500 US dollars. In the UK, I'm not sure. I haven't been able to see where to get them from in the UK. You just need to do a Google search to see where you could get it from. I think you need to import them from America, unless there's some RV places in Europe that have already imported them and stocked them. So that concludes part 1 of our Happijac Bed Lift video. It took a little longer than expected to release. And as you can see, Thatcher has grown up quite a bit since we started this video. And this also didn't make it any easier. I'm trying to edit here. Can you give me a break? We hope it was worth the wait and that we've answered all of your questions that you've had about our lifting bed. If we've missed something, drop it in the comments below and we'll try to answer it in our next video. Give us a like and subscribe if you found it useful. In part 2, we will cover the install of the Happijac. Also feel free to check out our other social media channels. Our Instagram is the one that we post most frequently to. Hopefully part 2 won't take as long for us to release as the part 1 did. So make sure you turn on notifications so that you know when that video is released. I'll drop links to the Happijac resellers in the description below. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it useful, and we'll see you next time.